Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and craft beer. I'm Ben, and I'm here with Lucy.
Hello again.
Hey.
Hi.
Lucy.
My hiatus is
yes.
over.
Yes. For 1 week.
Yeah.
Was it 1 week? Yes,
yeah,
it was
just
1 week.
Yeah.
Not the longest of hiatus. However, a slight hiatus on the beer this week for you.
On the beer and video games. But mostly video games. Bit of beer. Yeah.
Yes.
My body's old and tired. And that's why, if I don't sound too enthusiastic about it, it's not because I didn't enjoy it, because I'm tired. But yeah, it was good. It was called Taps. It was the first it's the first festival they put on.
Right.
You could tell it was like their first year because, I mean, it wasn't like a like meager lineup, but just some of the people from like local breweries weren't as much in force there, and
Okay.
but he still had like 5 Points Brewing, had Four Pure, had who else? I obviously enjoyed myself too much because I can't remember, but Fierce.
Okay.
I had quite a few names there.
Oh, interesting.
Jameson were there for some
Interesting
reason
to see
as well.
Fierce out as well.
Yeah, I had probably one of the beers that I remember the most was a chili and lime pale ale from Fierce, which is weird because you only get them like chili and like stouts and darker beers, but on this occasion they put it in a pale ale and it was pretty nice. I think I got a half to begin with. That's probably too much, maybe like a third, because it is a very slow sipping one. So if you're at a festival and you want to sample as many as you can, you probably don't want something that's going to sit heavy with you. But yeah, it's going to make you sound. In fact, what I'm about to say is going to make me sound really old. But first of all, I realised that there weren't too many dark beers there. Like when we went to Bristol. Well, when I came down to Bristol and went to the Bristol Beer Festival, it's like all the beers were like 11-12%. It's like it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I can't just start with that. And there's so many. But I went to the one in Birmingham with a friend who really likes like stouts and porters and strong beers. There wasn't that many. There was probably about 2-3 maybe. There was Nightfall from Four Pure, which is 9%. There was a Demolen beer,
Nice,
which was a collab with one of the. It's called the Pint Shop. It's a chain I think they're opening up in Birmingham soon. So like pies and meat and beer and all the good stuff. It was a collaboration between them and Demolen. That was really good. I think that was one of the best beers that I had there.
Nice.
That was like 12% or something like that. But and it was a drizzly day, so it's like I would have liked a few more like dark beers, but and what was weird about the festival is, bear with me, kids, any kids watching, but there were so many young people there.
Really?
It was crazy. It was like mostly young people. Like when we go to the beer festivals, it's usually people who look like Ben. Yeah.
Mostly, we'll get into Bristol Craft Beer Festival in a moment, but I mean it was full of like flannel shirts and beards, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. I'd say like probably average age. Usually at the festival I've been to so far, I'd probably say about 35 to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say mid to late 30s probably.
Yeah. At the place I went to, average age was probably like 23. There was there was a lot of kids there. I felt like I was in a creche. I felt like, what did I stumble into? But it was in like Digbeth, which is where all the cool kids go, and it was at the Custard Factory. So, but I think it's great. I mean,
that young scene, mate.
Yeah, it's like good. Turn them into alcoholics like us, old yeah. Start them young.
Speaking of being an alcoholic, I'm going to open a beer.
Yes. I am not drinking this week because 2 festivals in a row. Weekends in a row.
Luckily, I had
a
a week off, so
I'm looking forward to
go.
that this Saturday.
I'm not sure which one to drink first. I've got an IPA, and the other one I don't know what it is. Both of these are beers that you brought down week before last week, whatever it was.
Yes.
The first one is from Deya, Invoice Me for the Microphone, which I know you've had on show before.
Yes, I have actually. Yeah. Yeah, it was one where it was like I just found a Deya, I'm going to have it on the podcast, and I was like, not even sure if I'm into this, and I had my second beer, and I was like, no, the Deya is much better. I just forgot.
Well, because of that, I may start then with the other beer, which is from it's Bundobust, a brewing company, and it's called Dhana International. It's an IPA, 7.2%, but it's made with Northern Monk.
Is it the patrons?
I don't know. It doesn't have any info like that on it at all. There's no like patrons number or anything. It just says crafted to complement Bundobust's award-winning Indian street food. Visit our restaurant in Leeds and Manchester, and then brewed and canned in the north by Northern Monk.
Nice.
That's it.
Is that the one with the tiger on it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't remember if I had that one or not.
Okay.
I was just like, these Benson beers, I don't really need to have them. I've had plenty there.
Which, of course, I was very grateful for. I instantly had the left-handed giant. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a pale ale. It's really good. It's got a dock on the, like a little wooden jetty on the can. I'd had it before, which is why I picked that one, just for an evening beer after the beer festival. But as with all left-handed giant beers, it was very good.
Yeah. That one you got now looks quite tasty.
I mean, it's a nice sort of, it's a nice amber colour, a little bit of orange to it, perhaps. It's got a nice fruity nose. Doesn't overdo it. It's not a big nose, but it's definitely getting those tropical fruits and kind of, I don't know whether anything else is really pushing through. But
okay.
Flavour-wise, a little bit viscous.
Yeah, it looks quite hazy.
Yeah. Those tropical fruits are kicking through.
Yeah.
But it's kind of makes way for a little bit of sweetness as well, which is nice. I don't know what it's kind of, whether it's a fruity kind of sweetness complementing those tropical kind of notes. There's almost no bitterness to it at all. I'd expected a bit more of a hit from it, but there's barely anything on this.
Yeah. So the sweetness not necessarily coming from the fruits, coming from the malts?
I think maybe the sweetness is maybe a little bit of stone fruit in there.
Okay.
Maybe not quite. It's not a big sort of stone fruits flavour. Those tropical fruits are kind of there to give you the big, like...
Yeah.
The big bit.
Yeah.
Maybe my brain's not working as well. Yeah. Maybe having a week off of beer wasn't a good idea. The fruit flavour kind of gives you that initial kind of hit, and then that sweetness kind of creeps through a little bit. And it might be a little bit kind of malty as well in there, kicking through. It's not sort of, it's not like a biscuity kind of sweetness to it. It's not like a sugary kind of sweetness to it. It's definitely a little bit more fruity. Yeah,
I wonder if they I mean, there's not much flavour text on the can by the looks of it, but if they put like puree in it or something or if it was like natural fruits and it's the sugar from the natural fruits, who knows?
Yeah, it does say it's just says water, malted barley, oats, wheat, hops, yeast, and coriander seeds.
Do you taste coriander? Are you getting any?
Not getting that at all.
Yeah, I wonder what hops they've got in. It's probably I don't know, Citra, maybe Centennial and all that. But yeah, it'd be nice to know what hops are in it. I guess
it would.
Probably Google it, but that would require effort.
Hit like Rate Beer or Untapped or something before I would have drank it, but then I'd have had some kind of inkling as to what to expect.
We just shoot from the hip around here.
Exactly.
And get it wrong every single time.
Precisely that. Right, while I drink this, should we have a little chat about Bristol Craft Beer Festival?
Yeah.
it was good. It was very good.
Yeah.
It felt maybe the day after like it was a bit better than than I'd initially thought. It was
Right.
a little bit hazier the day after than I thought I should be. But as you mentioned earlier, there were a lot of big beers there, a lot of big beers, and we were kicking back 9-11% beers by by midday.
Yeah.
So it was going to be pretty messy, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. It was, yeah, but it was. I think that's why we do the right thing and we only go for like one session rather than like a day and a night and just do it in the day, and then you got time to slow down and recover. And because I was up at 6 o'clock that morning.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, oh. And Ben was up with me. I was like, this is your life now, watching cartoons before the sun is even up. Yeah. Ah, you poor soul. But yeah, it was good. I think, as we were saying before, it was like there was nothing that like blew our minds there. There was no like beer of the show that like we both took away from it. There was nothing outstanding about it.
Yeah,
it's like this, second year, and it's like it's got bigger. They had a bigger site and more beers, more brewers, and everything. But bigger is not always better. And it's like yeah, and there was some notable absences, like I expected Deya to be there.
So did I. Yeah, it would have been good for them to be there.
Cloudwater, they weren't there, were they?
No, they weren't.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's unreasonable to expect like all these brewers to be everywhere at once, because
of course,
small teams, and they already seem to be like everywhere at once. It's like, oh, we're doing a tap takeover in this city, see, going up to Leeds, Newcastle, now we're in London. Like, it's like they must need time to rest, and it's like it's hard to be in so many places at once. But
completely, yeah. Even if you've got 10 people working for you, not necessarily all brewers, but people that do like deliveries and people that work on in your tap rooms and on your bars and stuff. And even if you've got a team of 10 people, you don't want to be, say, 2 people, 3 people down every weekend during the summer. It's quite difficult. I noticed that was it Wiper and True, I can't remember whether it's the guy that owns it or the head brewer or whoever. Someone was getting married the same weekend as the beer festival. So the lad that was on the stall was a little bit worse for wear Saturday morning. We had a very good conversation, but he was sort of, he was there. That was him for the weekend, just doing that and just being sort of like the guy there for Wiper and True. So it was interesting seeing the different like teams and people that they had there, because obviously we chatted a lot about good chemistry and know the guys behind it and stuff, and Bob was on the taps there on Saturday daytime session. I can never remember the other lad's name who works in the tap room there, but he was on there with him as well. And I think that those guys have got enough people that they and because they're Bristol based, it's a little bit easier for them.
Yeah, for sure.
That they can have 2 people there rather than having to send someone down. If it had been Cloudwater who had to send like 3 people down to stay over for the weekend from Manchester, that means that maybe they're not brewing as much during the weekend and stuff. So it is hard to get people down to these events sort of every week, as you say.
Yeah, and just to that point, it's like it's crazy when like local brewers aren't there, because out of the I'd say probably 5 noticeable ones in Birmingham, only 1 was there at the one in Birmingham last week, and that's just because they are literally less than 30 feet away. They're literally round the corner. But then you have to think, it's like when I went to another festival in Birmingham, like I spoke to one of the guys at like Bromley Brewery, and he's like, we haven't really sold that much. We haven't done too well. And it's like, I went over there to say hi, and I bought a beer like out of pure loyalty rather than anything else. And it's like I know I can get those beers like any other weekend that they open. So I imagine that it might be like diminishing returns to turn up to the local ones, because it's like most of these people are going to be local and they probably know your beer anyway if they're at a beer festival. So they probably want to go and taste the breweries are like 200 miles away and stuff like that instead.
Yeah,
So
completely,
I understand,
completely.
yeah, but it's still crazy. It's like just put, or even just like nudge the other local brewers. It's like, can you just have one of ours on tap, please? And just, we're not going to send anyone there. Just a keg.
Yeah, I know that the first beer we had was from Good Chemistry, and it was their barrel aged saison, and I wanted that one because I know that it's only available in a couple of places, and and I don't get out very much anymore, so I don't get to go to as many sort of local pubs that will stock that beer. So I knew that I wanted to try that, and that was just the opportunity to try it. And it was the same with another couple of the so it's good to have those local ones there, definitely. But it's great with like Bristol Beer Festival or Bristol Craft Beer Festival, to give it its full title, I think, did have a good range of brewers. There were a few Belgian brewers there as well. We actually got to try some beers from Track too.
Yes,
who'd obviously come down from Manchester, who we just don't see very much here, apart from the occasional collaboration beer which appears in the bottle shop. So they did have a few people who a few brewers who you're definitely like, right, I want to try one of their beers.
And bless Northern Monk showing up like halfway through the day.
Yeah, they'd clearly had a very heavy night. Yeah. But you want kind of, you do want a really good range of beers, and you want all of your beers to be fantastic. And all of the beers we had were good. There weren't any kind of duds in there at all.
No, not at all.
There wasn't anything that I wanted to throw away whatsoever. But like you said, there wasn't anything that kind of really stood out. And that there may have been a few beers there which were absolutely phenomenal, but we just didn't try it, just through luck of the draw, and we decided to have that one instead of that one.
And I think that's what's nice about having the smaller venue the year previous. It's like we got to visit like every single one of those brewers that we wanted to. I mean, bless their hearts, Brewdog, they keep showing up everywhere. You never see anyone round there drinking their beers, but they show up. At the Birmingham one last week as well. It's like, oh hi, bye.
Yeah, I think that Brewdog are big enough to be able to do, go where they want. But
they've got their troops everywhere.
They have, and a couple of the Brewdog beers that they had on at the Bristol Festival.
Oh, you looked. It's more.
I did look. I looked. Are they're going to be different casked than they are in bottle form, but I know that you can pick the bottles, that you can pick the beers they had up in the supermarket. So it's kind of it's much less of an event beer. Or something that I'm not going to get anywhere else, perhaps.
It just seems like the wrong place to go. I wonder what they see in terms of returns on going to festivals like that, where people are obviously knowledgeable about beer. I'm not hating on Brewdog, because it's like I picked up one of theirs from Tesco a couple of days ago. It's like a tangerine sour or something like that.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, like, most people that are tapped into the brew scene know that they stock their beers in Tesco or Morrison's or Sainsbury's. Just, I'd love to see the reasonings behind it, the money return from it. I mean, if you go into like a more casual festival, then absolutely, but at a beer festival, it seems a bit out of place.
I guess for those guys, it's still mind share, isn't it? They still want to be part of the conversation. They still want to be on people's minds. So you go to the beer festival, and if someone doesn't drink one of your beers, they still see you there. They still make the connection that you are there at the festival.
True.
Maybe your esteem goes up very slightly. There's probably plenty of reasons why they want a presence at as many festivals as they can possibly get to.
Yeah, or maybe they just wanted a weekend of having a laugh.
But I mean, that might be it as well. It might be that it's come from the 4 or 5 people that want to go down to Bristol and say, look, we'll go and work the stall. 2 of us will be on every session. The other 3 of us can be off tasting all of these beers that we never get to taste because we're not located here.
Yeah, speaking with other brewers, talking about collabs, handing out flyers. Who knows? Maybe just networking. They might be doing that.
Exactly.
Might be purely for that, and they like, just roll down a few kegs down from Scotland.
Yeah. Well, they've got to come down in a transit with 5 of you in there.
No, I thought they'd literally be rolling, kegs down the
whole way, just down the motorway. Just
when you get tired, just like stand up on it and run on it.
Just go over to the hard shoulder. Just make sure you're out of the way.
That's what I envisaged.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll just go back to an earlier point. I think that was nice about the year prior, the beer festival. Just having like a smaller venue. Obviously, you're going to want as many people coming, and bigger venue needs to accommodate that. But that was nice about having a smaller venue. It's like we got through like probably 95% of the brewers there, and I mean we got through quite a lot of the brewers, when we went there. But it was very much this is like opportunity cost. We can't go. Well, not can't, but we don't want to go to that one. Because some of their beers look okay, but we'd rather be going to like, I don't know, Verdant or Good Chem or something like that.
Yeah. And but again, we didn't. I don't think I had a beer from Verdant because the beers they had on, I'd had before.
Yes.
So
I know I had one from them. Can't remember what it was called.
There were a couple in that corner of that tent. And we sort of hovered around, and I think we went to different ones like that.
I think that was the good tent. The best tent.
Was, oh, God.
I think it was.
I can't remember.
No.
But last year, I think one of the big differences was that we were with Adel as well. And because there were 3 of us, and we were drinking different beers, we got to taste a lot of beer.
That's very
Whereas
true.
this time, the 2 of us kind of stuck together a little bit more, and even though we might have had a different beer, we kind of both went to the same brewer and had a different beer. Whereas last year, we'd kind of there were only 2 tents and then an indoor section last year.
Yeah.
And we either were in one tent, all 3 of us, and we just disperse off to a brewer and then come back together. We're like, oh, I've had this one from Beavertown, or I've got this one from Verdant, and kind of share them round a little bit. Whereas this year it was more, we'd go to the brewer, we'd kind of stand by the side, we'd have a sip of each other's beer, and then just finish what we'd picked, sort of thing. Yeah. So there was a lot less. Because we got
through like the whole of the Rainbow Project. I think they might have had one off, but it's like we got through that.
That's right. We did 6. Year, we did 6 of the Rainbow Project last year. Yeah.
So and that was just one brewer. That was just Siren there. So
yeah.
We need to adopt the Raptor technique a bit more.
Do we need? Well, no, I can't remember his name. Muldoon. We need him to be stalking around the beer festival so we can just say, right, we've got 3 beers, let's get around him, quick, share them all out.
My microphone's actually resting on top of my Jurassic Park book.
Have you finished it yet?
No, I've only just picked it up again after like not reading it for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Life being busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to. After this, I'm probably just going to sit down and read it. It's going to be good.
Nice. So we're gonna stick, I think, with events to chat around. Another event that you went to, Lucy, that I didn't go to. I'm going to open my next beer first.
Okay.
But while I do, is there anything any final thoughts you have on Bristol Craft Beer Festival, the other beer festival you went to? Were there any brewers that you kind of thought that you'd really want to see at either of these, apart from Deya, because, of course?
Yeah, just Deya. Yeah. No, not really. I enjoyed them both. I think the one I've enjoyed the most this year was one I went into at the Bond Company in Birmingham. Bit more. I think that was just like in Craft Beer Week. I can't even remember what it's called. But anyway, yeah, they were both good.
Was that the one we went to the birthday for Cotteridge Wines and the woman was handing out flyers?
Yes, it was that one.
That one?
It was that one, yeah. And it went off. It was really good. I think, the weather was great as well and everything. It was just like a perfect storm. And
Yeah.
They had a really good selection of beers. So, but you know, when there's beer there, it doesn't matter. It's like I'm happy. I'm in heaven. You know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like complaining about what's the best thing out of the best thing. You know, it's like
that was the problem with Bristol. Like, ooh, like,
Yeah.
where do we go next? And we kind of did like 2 beers in one tent, 3 beers in the next tent, 2 beers in the next tent, and then kind of went back into the middle and did another like 3 beers, and then back to the other one, did another couple of beers, and just sort of like tried to rotate around as much as possible.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, but it's both good fun. I don't know. I mean, Deya not being there, I mean, it'll always make my heart bleed. But you know, it's like there's so many good beers out there, and it's just
Yeah.
It's been. I think I've been to like 5 festivals this year, and it's like I wouldn't say I've had a bad experience at any one of them. They've all been good. They've all been very, very good. So yeah, I'm happy with it. But
nice. Well, at least after the Bristol Beer Festival, we did stop into Bottles and Books on Gloucester Road
very nice shop,
because it was their kind of birthday week as well. So they started up a year ago, and we managed to get a Deya beer in there.
Yes,
They
we
had
did.
one on tap in there.
I
So
think it was a table saison or something like that, or table Belgian beer or something to that end.
At that point, I had no idea what the beers were that we drank. We did meet some lovely people in there as well who just been to Bristol Craft Beer Festival, who were equally as fucked as we were at that point, I think, which made me feel a little bit better at least. But yeah, we did get to have some Deya beer that day. So, yes,
that's true. That's very true.
It is, and I'm going to drink a Deya beer now. So this is the Invoice Me for the Microphone IPA, 6.5%. A soft, juicy IPA with plenty Citra and Mosaic. Please keep this can refrigerated to preserve the flavour profile intended. That's it.
Yeah.
Addresses and some
this
such.
will be much more fruity than the last one you had. Or, you know.
It smells. I mean, it's a lot hazier.
Oh god, yeah.
It's almost. It's not the. You know. It's got almost that like milky quality to it, in the way that it looks. It's kind of. It's thick and it's opaque, but it's got that white kind of edge to it. When you get it in the light, like the center is nice and kind of orange, but the edge is this almost this lemon curdy kind of color. You know, it's edging on really yellow. And nose-wise, you're getting a much bigger nose than the last beer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, but it's not fruitier than the last beer. It's fruity in a very different way.
Right.
Almost a little bit kind of. It's not sour and it's not kind of like acidic, but it's got that little like tinge to it that just pulls away a little bit. That suggests that this might be slightly bitter, perhaps. Perhaps this is where I'm completely wrong again.
No, when I think of Deya beers, I don't know. I always think like smooth and juicy, but a lot of them do have a nice bitterness on the end, like Steady Rolling Man, like you know, they're classics. It's like I remember when I first had it on this pod, I was like, this just reminds me of like an old style IPA where it's very fruity and then very bitter.
Yeah,
so, they're good at bitterness as well.
They are. I mean, this is this is nice and fruity, but it's balanced out quite well. So it's not a big hit. It's quite a delicate kind of fruity kind of profile, I suppose. There's not much bitterness to it. There's a little bit, maybe you know, there is a little bit, but probably only as much as the previous beer, which was the Bundobust and Northern Monk Dhana International. Very similar in that it's kind of like a fruit, and then that kind of gives way to something else, and it's not bitterness. With the Bundobust, it was a little bit of sweetness. This is kind of It's an odd one to kind of describe, really. That fruitiness kind of gives way to maybe a little bitterness, but just so slight. But maybe that is what is pulling away from that fruitiness. Maybe there isn't something else. There's not a sweetness there, at least. It's not like a sourness there to it. Okay. There's something that just kind of pulls that fruitiness, or reins that fruitiness in, I suppose. Yeah. To make it very light. And I actually, like drinking it, I'd have thought that this was a bit more of a pale ale rather than an IPA. Okay. It's nice and viscous. It's got that body to it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of flavour-wise, it's a little bit balanced. It's a little bit delicate.
A little bit more reserved. Yeah. Less emphasis on either extreme, the fruitiness or the bitterness.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it's got that little bit of juiciness to it. So when you're drinking an orange juice, you get that nice big kind of like sweet flavour, and that aftertaste is a little bit like sort of pithy, perhaps. And this kind of has that. Yeah. It's got that kind of fruitiness to start with, not big fruity, as if it's a fruit juice, but it then gives way to that kind of like a little bit of a pithiness, perhaps. Something that pulls it back very slightly. So it's nice. It's very nice. Very easy to drink.
Oh yeah, they always are.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Just as the Dhana International was. Very easy to drink. Bit of a bigger can with the Deya, 500ml.
Yeah, always good.
It is, yes. And before we move on to your other event, Lucy, we are seeing a few more Deya cans bowling about at the moment.
Yeah, they did. I think I saw this on Twitter. That's the one.
Yes.
They've got 2 new vats, like what they call rockets. So they'll be able to produce more and distribute more. I mean,
yeah.
In the last 2 weeks, I've seen 2 places that I've got Deya cans in, and it's like, it used to be, the gap between seeing Deya cans, what used to be like, I don't know, 6 months rather than 2 weeks. So
yeah,
I imagine we'll see them. You said that you saw some in Bristol as well, didn't you? So we'll see them more places, and to that as well. Burning Soul, my favourite brewery up here. Yeah. Also got some new rockets in, so don't know if they're going to be canning. I doubt it. They do bottles so far, but might see those bottles in more places. Who knows? But yeah, they make good beers. So.
Hey, I mean, I noticed because I follow Bottles and Books on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. I've been seeing sort of Lewis is very good at posting the new beers that he has come in.
Yeah.
So I did see that they had a couple of Deya beers in that were brewed for, what is it? Is it Cheltenham and Gloucester Beer Week? Or Gloucester and Cheltenham?
It could be either.
Cheltenham and Gloucester Beer Week. So they had a few beers from Deya come in.
Yeah.
And in amongst the new beers he had come in, he had a few from Arbor as well.
Oh, nice.
But they were canned. So they're now doing, their bottles were pints. Their cans are now pints, which is what, 685 mil. Yep. So
I love Arbor.
they, so Arbor are now canning as well. I've only seen their kind of like core beers, so like Shangri-La.
Yeah.
I noticed was one that he'd posted up. So people are moving more towards cans. It does seem to be the way.
I think. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously like economical and environmental reasons for that, but even when I go into like my beer shop and it's like Arbor are always there, and it's like we don't usually get new Arbor beers, like as you said, the Shangri-La is there, the Rocket one,
like Rocket Man,
yeah, Rocket Man, the standard ones, and it's like I've had all these before. If they can with cans, smaller cans, smaller packaging, get more out there. That'd be great,
Yeah, completely.
But that's great. When you said cans, I was like, oh no, they haven't gone to like 440, have they?
No, it's still pint cans.
Yeah. God bless them. Thank you.
Well, it seems to be. I don't know what it is. I read something. What was it? I think it was the Beer O'Clock Show on Twitter.
Right.
Posted up a poll. And basically just sort of said like this was a while ago now, maybe like 18 months, 2 years ago, something like that. Saying like, is Bristol like just the place of big beers,
Yeah.
Like, do we just get like 660ml bottles or pint bottles or 500ml, 600ml bottles from like every brewery in Bristol? I think it was to do with Wiper and True, that Wiper and True put out like bigger bottles in Bristol and then go down to like their 330ml bottles almost everywhere else, which is super interesting that they're bottling in two different sizes dependent on where they're shipping to, I suppose. But it kind
Maybe
of
that's
just
purely a logistics thing. Maybe it's
possibly
you Bristolians are just blessed in that way.
I mean, we it does make us feel a little bit more alcoholic than everywhere else, perhaps, that we buy our beers in bigger quantities than it's served anywhere else.
Yeah, it's like America, how like their food portions are just huge. It's just Bristol.
Oh
just
God,
we're not.
Bristol's not the America of the UK. Definitely not. No, fuck that. We're almost the exact opposite. Apart from in our quantity for beer, I suppose. That is the one thing that we share, possibly. But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see, more Deya beers at least in cans. As you say, not every 6 months. But every, even if it was every 2 months, if it was every month, something like that, that would be fine.
Yeah, and it's actually been nice, like, the thrill of the chase, like, just seeing on Twitter, this place says Deya. It's like,
go.
How fast can I drive over there in a responsible manner?
Yeah, it was when the Northern Powerhouse box came out.
Yeah.
I instantly messaged Bottles and Books and said, could you put one of those behind for me, please?
Yeah,
I'll be over as soon as I can. Just don't sell it, please. It was like, oh no, I can't come today. Can I come and get it tomorrow? Could you hold it for me tomorrow, please? It's just, I suppose for anyone listening who picks up beers now and then from a bottle shop, but mostly goes to smaller kind of like, goes to supermarkets and picks up their sort of like their craft beer. Connect with your local bottle shop. Speak to them, talk to them. They can hold beers for you. They're more than happy to do
they're more than happy to. Yeah, but my bottle shop still has like Northern Powerhouse beers, like the boxes.
Yeah.
Every time I go in there, I'm so tempted to pick up another one because
they were good.
Oh, like 5 out of the. How many were there? Like 8?
8.
Yeah,
I think.
Like 5 out of the 8, I absolutely. Like the other 3 were great also, but I was like, there were some really, really like big fruity like IPAs and double IPAs, and then like the stout.
Was it the Buxton Chocolate Stout?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was something. I know there was a stout in there. Yeah, it was great.
I think they must have hit with 8 beers. They hit not every beer style, obviously. Yeah. But I don't think they didn't repeat a beer style, did they?
I think they did. I think they might have had like 2 IPAs.
Oh, did they? I know they had an IPA and a double IPA.
Maybe.
And a pale ale, and then they did a
brown ale. I remember they had a saison. The brown ale.
Water.
I really liked that brown ale.
There was a saison. There was a stout.
They were so good. I might actually.
I'm sure we could find a list online.
Yeah.
Exactly which beers there were. You listener, research it if you want to know. We don't want to tell you now.
They were good, and I do see them like sold in like some bottle shops like individually.
Yes.
So if it's like you don't like brown ales, even though that was a very good brown ale, then you're just like, just want to pick up one of them. Then
completely,
you can do that.
Like Lewis from Bottles and Books. I went in there just after I picked up my box. I think it was like the week after or something, and he was saying that they were selling much better individually.
Oh wow! Okay.
That people were coming in and going, actually, I want this style. I want to pick up this beer, rather than just picking up the the whole box, which is what a box was like £40, something like that.
£40 for I think depending on where you go, but it's probably anywhere between like £32 and £40, which is big barrier to entry.
Yeah,
just picking up
completely.
Box of beers, and people might just want some more variety and stuff like that.
Yeah, very much.
Brewers, but they were really good. I might have to pick up another box. Just have a fun. I'll just, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go there on like the 25th of October, buy one of those, and just play Red Dead the next day and not even draw my curtains. Stay there.
Just sit in the dark. Reach over to the beer fridge, just pull another one out, like, ooh, brown ale, brilliant.
Yeah.
And just fucking bowl around looking at horse testicles and stuff. Yeah.
I think that's the plan. Yeah.
So, talking of games, let's move on to the other event that you went to last week now.
Yes.
Which was EGX
It was.
in Birmingham.
It
Didn't have
was.
to travel far.
No, just round the corner. And I mean, used to be in London. EGX and EGX Res, that happens usually every April. This is 4th year on the trot. I've been, because it started going to Birmingham 4 years ago. And it made sense, because it's like, Birmingham's a much easier place to get to than London for all of the country. Even people in London, it's probably easier to get to Birmingham.
Well, yeah, it's not easier to get to, but it's easier to navigate your way around it. I can get quite easily to the fringe of London, but then getting right where I need to go in London is quite hard.
Yeah, because it's in the Tobacco Docks in London, which is right in the centre, I believe. So, yeah, that just sounds like a nightmare. But yeah, it's 4th year.
Yeah.
Now a veteran. It's like, this doesn't have the same appeal, and it isn't like, oh, shining lights, I've never seen this before. Like the first year was a really good year. Really enjoyed it. I mean, Sony and Microsoft were both there in a big way, because at that point they both had games. Not so much anymore, but and then Nintendo.
Crackdown 3 probably shown.
No, but
just a trailer.
Yeah, sizzle reel amongst some indies or something like that.
Just Terry Crews firing a gun in the air. That was it.
Yeah, and then Nintendo started showing up in the last few years and stuff like that. But I mean, I only go there for the indies. I don't go there for the AAA games, because A, I'm not going to queue, and B, it's like I know what these games are going to be. I know what they're going to be like. I know if I'm going to buy them. The only game that I probably would have wanted to play is, from a AAA standpoint, is Metro Exodus.
Yes.
But I was never going to queue for that. I don't care enough to queue for it.
I was just thinking about that, and the one thing I saw. I saw lots of things from EGX and from all of the people kind of like posting up stuff, and we'll have some previews on outoflives.net, so go there, about some of the things that we've seen. But one of the things I saw was Corey, MC Fixer, saying that it is a big photo of him with like the big Metro Exodus banner, or embossed kind of letters sticking out of the wall behind him, and I instantly thought, man, I hope you didn't fucking queue for that shit.
No, he had a press pass, so he was alright. Yeah, I got a press pass the first year, but it's like I don't feel comfortable using it. I just don't. It's like when I talk to like developers, especially in the indie places, which is where I want it to be anyway.
Yeah.
When they're saying, oh, we'll just move this person off and kick them off, it's like, no, my time is not more valuable than anybody else's. Yeah, completely. And I felt really.
But I think that's part of the problem with it, isn't it? Like to them, like they want exposure.
Yeah.
So they do value someone's time with the press pass more than just the general public, because they know that they may get some kind of write up or video or something from it. So I mean, I've not been to EGX. I have I have plans, hopefully, to come next year.
That would be great.
And possibly, depending on what we decide in Out of Lives, getting a press pass. I've never had a press pass to anything, so I don't know the etiquette, I suppose, all about it.
You just barge in and say, I'm pressed, and you go.
I can imagine I would have probably just stood there and queued. They were like, oh, your press. You can am I? Okay, I suppose. Sure. And just gone and played something. But it's, I feel like EGX, similarly to you, that a lot of the AAA stuff that's shown is coming out in in the coming months.
Time. Yeah, it's not like these games are, they're not even 6 months out, some of them. Most of them, 90%. Of them.
Whereas the indie stuff might be a little bit further away.
Oh yeah, these games may never come out. So I played that game, remember that? What did he do? Because it didn't come out. Yeah, and it's like, And that's where you find like the gems, and that's where you can talk to the developers, and that's where
Yeah.
you can just see the passion like oozing out of them and how excited they are just to see so many people come through and play their games. It's like, because a lot of people do stay in the indie place. They probably like skirt about and like go to the big three and queue up for like one game or something, but they always end up coming back to like the indie place, because what they've done now, which I've liked last few years, is that they put the indie place, like all like the Res collection, the Left Field collection, they're all basically at the front of the hall where you come in, and all the big stuff is all the way down there, and they put the weird cosplayers right at the back, which is unfortunate.
Surely you want them first.
Depends.
People are already in there. It's not like they can go and get a refund on their tickets, is it? Yeah. Put the cosplayers in instantly, greeting you into the space.
Yeah, but it's like more of the niche things, I should say. Weird saying niche, because I wouldn't say gaming's niche. It's one of the biggest selling entertainment properties, but it's like more of the niche things, like board games and like old school games and maybe pinball tables and stuff like that. They're more at the back. But it's like, if you know they're there, you're going to go to them. But they put all the indie stuff at the front, and I think that's good. It's good to give them more exposure, because the big three are fine. It's like, I told my sister, who I go with every year, I said the biggest queue there is going to be at Nintendo for that Goose game. And
they had the Goose game, did they?
They had the Goose game, but I know it's a 10-minute demo. And I saw 6 people there, and I was like, nah. I know what this game is. I'm going to buy it. It plays a goose. It looks cool. I'm going to buy it. It's fine. But yeah, it's like indies for me. It's like one game I saw there. It's been out for like 4 months already. It came out earlier this year. I played it there.
Yeah.
It's a mobile game. It's called G30. I'll probably talk about it next week.
Okay.
Mobile game, really interesting. I came back home, looked on my phone. I was like, I'm going to look up this G30 because I'm going to want it. I was like, oh, it came out 4 months ago, and just bought it there and then. It's like, and played it like in that week, and it's like a really good experience. It's like I never would have found out about that game.
That's interesting that there's also developers there who have a game out, and that's what they're showcasing as well.
That happens a lot with the indies,
Was
like
it coming to any other
Worms
was it coming to any other platform or anything like that?
I don't know. I'd have to check. It's only on iOS, unfortunately, because I think, and it's not even on Steam. I think it's. I'll talk about it next week, but I think you'd really enjoy it and the story behind it and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of them you see there. It's like Overcooked 2 was there, Worms was there.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Team 17 and British publisher, so it's like, this is the biggest show. It's like, I played Overcooked 2. I knew Overcooked 1, played that. I knew I probably wanted Overcooked 2 at one point, but I sat down and played it. It was like, oh, actually, I want this sooner than maybe it goes on sale. I'm still going to wait for a sale.
That's good. That's good for them.
But it's like, it's like more exposure. It's like that G30, they got a sale because they turned up at the show, and it's like, I didn't know it was ever a thing. But
it's interesting, coming back to the kind of like the conversation that we were having earlier about like Brewdog going to like the Craft Beer Festival.
Yeah.
These developers already have a product that's out. They could rely on the algorithms and the storefronts and the main like home pages of stores and things kind of like pushing their products. And I imagine with a lot of these things you have to pay for, like being like the featured game or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But going somewhere that they can gain mind share, that they can just be part of the conversation, that they can, again, they can go and chat to other developers. Whether, G30 was made by a 10-man team or a 2-man team.
I think it's one guy.
Exactly. He can go and he can chat with other people, which he may not get to do. He may get to do that every day. But he may not get to do that, or other developers may not get to do that. So going there and networking as well and promoting your product makes
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I know. I was speaking to a developer of like Super Brood Bear, came out. I think it's 2 years ago now. Brilliant, like really hardcore platformer. Buy it if you haven't. But he was just talking about the costs of like bringing like a rig up there and stuff like that, and it's as an indie developer, especially, it seems like, yes, we could go one way and it works out very well for a small development team. There's like Nintendo and even Team 17 are going to be fine, but or it could just be absolutely not worth the cost being on the floor. And I guess in smaller places like the Left Field Collection, which is all the very, very small indie games, and that's a place where it's like, will this ever come out kind of a place where I'm guessing it might be subsidized, it might be cheaper, but yeah, it's regardless of like the economics behind it, it's great seeing like indies there that I never knew about, and I'm really excited to play in the future now. And it's like, I'll be following those developers, trying to retweet them whenever I can, give them a bit more exposure, because it's like, that's where the gems are going to come from. It's like, I know every single of those games that Sony, Nintendo, and the absent Microsofts are going to put out, so I know every single one of those games. I know them. The others I don't, and the games that came away with, my favourite was a game I've heard of but had no like interest in following or something like that, and it's called Phogs, Phogs.
Okay. And
it's basically like, imagine cat dog, but it's two dogs, so it's dog. So attached to one body, and it's like this cool physics game where you're controlling each head of the dog. It's
with each, like, is it a control pad? Is it analog sticks?
Yeah, with each analog stick and each trigger, and it's just like nice, really colourful world, and you're just going through these different levels, solving puzzles, and that was my game of the show, because it's just so light-hearted and delightful. It's like, I was just like, I need to put this down, otherwise I'm just going to play the whole demo.
But I mean, all you've done is describe the control scheme for it, and I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of that game, which was actually, I think it's the first game from the people who make the Goose Game, called Push Me Pull You, which is like a weird human centipede kind of physics party game. Yeah, with weird noises. And this is like the dog version of that, and it looks really cool. Yeah.
So it's a mix between cat dog and human centipede.
Yes. Just horrifying. But yeah, just some other small games, like there was one which was like Space Harrier, but you're controlling it with your hands with like the leap motion control, which is probably the best like use of that piece of technology I've ever seen. So it's like, you're going woof, 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 woof. You're basically flying this cat through like barriers and trees. It's basically Space Harrier, and then
Space Harrier is fucking awesome.
I love that game.
We don't get enough Space Harrier clones, really.
No, I remember playing that on my Master System back in the day. A lot. I love that game. Nice.
So, Dog, or was it Phogs?
Phogs. Dog.
Was your
game of the show? Yeah.
Game of the show. I mean, Phogs doesn't really kind of put across what it is, does it? I suppose.
No.
But game titles never really do.
Not usually.
They can be quite abstract.
Like, what the hell is Resident Evil?
Exactly. Just a crotchety old man who fucking puts marbles in the hallway of his fucking old people's home.
Yeah, but there's so many weird things there. Like, there was like a game that, like, I think it was the first game in like 20 years that's been made like on like Sega Mega Drive and like Master System, like original dev kit.
Oh, that was there, was it?
Yeah, and there's only like two in the world.
That came out like Is that the one that came out a few months ago?
No, it's the one that's coming up now. I think they helped. I think those two developers are like actually helping each other. But this one's called, I think it's called Tanglewood, and it's like a 16-bit puzzle platformer. It looks like Lion King, so I was immediately drawn to it. So yeah, stuff like weird, quirky stuff like there, and it's good. Yeah, I mean, every year I'm narrowing the days that I go. Like, I mean, I've always only gone 2 days because I'm never going to go on a Saturday and Sunday. I'm already tired. But it's like, used to buy 4-day tickets. Now I'm just buying 2 days. I think next year I'm probably just going to go for the day, play all the indies, and be happy.
That's fair.
That's fair. I'll go 2 days.
Well, I'm hoping I'm going to get a press pass, but there is.
I'll just cut it in half and give me the other.
There is chat about some family member's wedding happening on maybe one of those days, so I'm furious, but yes, we shall have to convene on the days that at least I attend.
Yes,
and we hook up. So and if it ties in with the beer festival, it ties in with the beer festival.
Yeah,
that's never a bad thing.
That would be good, but. Yeah, that would be crazy weekend. But one game that was there at the Switch booth, which I had already played at that point.
Okay.
It was coming out that week. Called The Gardens Between.
Oh, yes.
Gardens Between, yeah. I was going to say The Gardens In Between, but no. The Gardens Between, which is a puzzle time shifting platformer puzzle adventure game. I don't know how to describe it. It's basically you're on these little islands. Art is fantastic, music's great as well. These kind of 3D islands, and you're kind of walking around them, so the camera's rotating as you're walking around them. You play as two. I don't know if it's a boy and a girl, or 2 girls, or 2 boys. Maybe I think they probably look androgynous, just to so you can, reflect your own.
Take what you will, sort of thing.
Yeah, because it's a story. It's basically a coming of age story, and it's
like camaraderie, coming of age story.
Yeah, 2 kids meeting each other. One kid moves in next door. They form a bond. They form a friendship. It's about coming of age, and it's very reminiscent of. If you grew up in the 90s, they have on these islands that they're kind of shrunken down mini islands with massive kind of props on them, and these props like VHS tapes.
Oh yes, yes. I remember seeing a trailer for this. Yeah.
Just Sony Walkmans, all this stuff from you'd remember from the 90s, and so it's very littered with nostalgia, but you're playing as these 2 kids, probably about early teens. You're not exactly controlling them though. You're more controlling the advancement or recession of time. So it's very simple control scheme as well. You're only using one button, several. You can use a joystick. That's how I use it, just to right to advance time, left to rewind time, but you can use the joysticks and stuff like that, and the triggers, and you can use any button basically. It's basically a 2-button game. And then as you're advancing time, the kids will walk, and it's their actions, you can't exactly dictate those. But you can change things in the environment, get the kids to change things in the environment by pressing the action button. Yeah. Which I played on PC. It's on Switch, it's on PlayStation 4, and it's on PC. I used a controller, Xbox controller, so it was just the A button as the action button, I believe. And so they can change little things in the world that will make. So you can rewind time, and when you go back, that change in the world is constant, and then you can proceed because you change that.
You
thing
move
in the
forward,
world.
you knock something, you press the action button, you knock something down.
Yeah.
You rewind, and then you go forward and it is already down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like perfect example. It's like, oh, there's this ravine in our way we can't go past, and the game will stop. It's like you can't go past, so you obviously need to sort something out prior to that point. You rewind, you get one of the characters to like, I can't even remember, but they do something to make a VHS tape fall down.
Yeah, okay.
And then rewind, and then go forward, and they can cross the VHS. That's so hard to say. VHS tape. Yes. But it's quite. It's not too challenging. I didn't like have any difficulties. I was able to do it like pre-release without a walkthrough, so it was fine. But it does get a bit more. The mechanics become slightly more involved. Still the same concept, but it becomes slightly more involved, slightly tougher. It does have you scratching your head now and then. But yeah, overall, it's very light-hearted, very simple mechanically, well put together game, and I think it's made by the Voxel Agents. So check that out if you haven't. See if it's your jam.
Nice.
But yeah, really striking art style. So
it almost sounds like a bit of a mix between something like Rhyme and those like rotating 2D sections in Mario Odyssey, almost, where you're kind of moving around the environment. So the kids are kind of moving around the environment, and kind of I suppose the camera pans around with them. Yeah, and you have these environmental puzzles that you need to solve, I suppose.
And so like the islands which create the background also come into like the foreground. They're not just set dressing. There's things to interact with it in the background and in the foreground. But you're absolutely right. It is very much, I'd say the style is probably that kind of 3D kind of slightly cartoonish art style is very reminiscent of Rhyme. And it's a really you'd probably think, oh, I've experienced this time rewinding mechanic in so many games, like I don't know, Braid or Super Time Force or something that, but they still managed to do something different with it, and I think that's what's most enticing about this game. The fact that they've taken something that we've probably all done at one point in a video game, and they make something new and novel about it in ways that it's just like, oh, I thought this might have been played out by the time I finished this game, but it's like, no, you're still finding new ways to use this mechanic. Yeah. And it's a short game.
That's nice.
But yeah, it is nice for us oldies. But it's one of those classic games that it's like, it's short, but it's not too short, but it still leaves you wanting more. So like,
that's nice.
Like Donut, that's how I felt like Donut County.
Yeah.
Short, but it's like, that's a nice, concise little package, and just makes a really good game, really brilliant game.
Completely. It's one of those games that when I first saw it, it kind of evoked a little bit of like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah.
But actually, whilst maybe storyline wise it may be similar, whilst narratively it's similar, whilst thematically it may be kind of similar. It might not be. I've not played it, so I can't understand that. But like control wise, it doesn't sound like it is. Actually, the previous game, I forgot what it was called, Dogs. Phogs. Phogs actually sounds a little bit more like A Tale of Two Sons, where you're using each analog stick to control a different character and do something differently.
Not quite as somber and heartfelt, but yes.
But the Gardens Between kind of, I think when I first saw the trailer for it, it definitely evoked that tone to it.
Yeah, it does.
And I thought it would be much more like that. To find out it's maybe more, you're allowing them to move, and they're both just moving. And then rewinding time is an interesting kind of. It's an interesting take. It subverts the genre completely, because it's like you're not actually
in control of these characters. You're in control of the environment around them, which is completely different to most games where you have that agency. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those games where it probably won't sit with me for a long while. The story's not as resonant as maybe I'd have liked it to be, but in a very short runtime, it's very hard to convey what the developers wanted to convey.
Yeah.
But it's relatable, it's understandable, it's very much an implied story. There's not too much there's no text or anything in the game. There's no dialogue, there's no overt exposition, so everything is basically implied.
Okay. Yeah. Again, another interesting take to kind of to put on it, and nice that they've kind of left it maybe a little bit open, perhaps. So that, I mean, it sounds super interesting. I know that Lee played it as well and reviewed it for the site.
Yeah.
And I had a quick kind of glance across his review, and it definitely felt like a game that appealed to me. But it made me kind of it's one of these questions which I think pops up a lot when you get these experiences where you don't have to do very much, or you do something in a slightly different way. That, like, what is a game? What is a game versus what is an experience? And it might be something that I kind of bring up next week, perhaps. And kind of talk a little bit more about, perhaps. Okay. But it's kind of one of these that actually it kind of hits that mark where if you want something kind of a little bit relaxing but a little bit taxing in terms of maybe kind of like puzzle mechanics or just working out how to progress, it's not like it's not like a Resident Evil game where you have to run around and you need a key to be able to progress, but you've got to run back through the mansion and go to another room to work out a puzzle to be able to get that key, because you had to get 4 other things from 4 other different locations to then put them all here to get the key to then take them to this other place. It's not as complicated or intricate as that. It's a much more kind of relaxed maybe not relaxed, but it's not as taxing, perhaps.
No, not at all. It's as you say, it's a very relaxed experience. It's certainly the whole debate, is it a game, is it not? It's a game, and everything is a game for me and stuff like that. But it's it's very, you can be in a very chilled, relaxed state and played it. It's one of those things that I don't feel like playing a game. Put that on, It's something interactive. It's something that'll get your mind working, but it won't stress you out. It's not Doom,
Completely. And maybe we won't have this conversation on another episode. Maybe just have it now. I think you've used the word interactive, and I think that is the key word in terms of any kind of gaming experience, that you are having some kind of influence on progression and outcome, and you are participatory in what you're doing. You're not watching a movie, you're not just sat there seeing things happen. You have some kind of input, whether that is like a Telltale game, whether you're just choosing certain things in between kind of yes, there's a lot of walking around, I suppose, in Telltale games, but it's only to explore the environment and stuff. But to progress, really, you're kind of choosing between different decisions. We won't dwell on Telltale. I'm sorry I even mentioned it. But
poor people.
It's kind of there's so many different levels of interactivity in terms of games that sometimes it is so nice to have one where you are just making those basic choices or doing those basic kind of like button prompts or inputs. You don't really have to do very much, but you're getting such a rich narrative experience. Or even if it's not like rich, it is just a poignant and very well made narrative experience.
I mean, people play Candy Crush every day and they're just swiping, and it's still a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
You're still interacting with it. I think like the best like argument to this argument is Steve Gainer's like he did like a keynote. I think it was GDC. Probably Gone Home's been about 5 years. It's probably like 3 or 4 years ago. It's when he still had long hair. But it's just like, I mean, Gone Home it's crazy that was where the like discussion stemmed from. Because for me, that's one of the best made games, the most intelligently designed games that I've ever played, and it's hilarious how it stemmed from that. It's like, I don't understand, but it's just like, honestly, listen to his keynote, and it's so like interesting and just a great insight to development and like why that is a game. And I always go back to the point where it's like, when people say, "Oh yeah, I could have just read this in a book," it's like, but no, you couldn't have. You couldn't have gone through that mansion, turned on every single one of those lights when you go into every single one of those rooms, and that's your marker for like, I've been in this room, the light's on. I've been in this room, that's light. And probably about halfway through the game, you open a drawer and with a note in, it says, "Oh, you're so much like your dad not turning any of the lights off." It's like, if you read that, it's like you don't get that kind of connection to A, the narrative and like the story and who these characters are, and B, that gameplay choice that made that make sense. It's like, yeah, it just depresses me when people are like, "Oh, that's not a game." It's like,
I completely.
It's a fantastic game.
Like
it's
Gone
like,
Home.
I want to play it again. It came out on Switch.
Yes, you have to double dip, mate. I
already bought it on Xbox when it came out. It's just like I bought it on PC back in 2012 when it came out. Bought on Xbox when it came out. I haven't played it.
Was it on? It came out on PSN as well at some point.
Oh yeah, it came out probably the same day on Xbox and PlayStation. It's on Switch.
I mean, it's like Gone Home is one of those super prescient, super relatable games that just does what it does so fucking well.
Yeah.
It's
such a good game.
It's kind of, it's almost how I felt about something like Her Story as well. That Her Story is like a sorting app. And all you're doing is just sorting through different video files, essentially. But it you know, you're interacting with it. You have to be engaged. You have to be. It involves you. You know, yes, films engage you and they involve you, but they don't interact with you. You have to have some kind of input into all of these things.
And the great thing about Her Story is that, like, even like, it's one of those where you say like Telltale, we all made different decisions but came to the same conclusion. Most people's stories happen in the same way. It's like, when you play Her Story, depending on the order that you know, discover things in and stuff like that, you may come to the ending, but it's like my theory on what happened is completely different to other people's. You know? And it's like, you don't get that from a movie. It's like, you know,
everything is
John
laid
Connor
out
saved
for
the
you
world
instantly.
anyway. It's like, no.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I suppose just to, well, now we mentioned it several times, just to round out this conversation, hopefully everyone who works for Telltale finds themselves,
absolutely,
or everyone who works for Telltale finds themselves, you know, some kind of gainful employment, working for someone who they enjoy, working on projects that they enjoy, and working is the key phrase. You know, being paid for what you do, rather than just being like, oh, you know, money doesn't matter to me. I'll just make episode 3. Why not? Me and my mates, we'll just get together and make it for all of these cunts that just fucking want the game made. So obviously that's what fucking makes me eat and pays my bills. Yeah,
it's shocking. It's like, I'm a contractor, so it's like literally you can get laid off the next day.
Yeah.
For me, it's not much of a problem. I live at home, which is great. But it's like, you expect that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to the point where it's like, You just expect that in the games industry. It shouldn't be that way. It's like,
That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
even so, to not get severance and just be out of the door 30 minutes later, it's like, and the stories coming out of it, like people having, like, they're on visas and have to go home, or people move clear across the country for like a week, get laid off. It's extraordinary, but the great thing about it, not the great thing about it, the great thing that's come afterwards is just the whole employment drive from like different developers, like Ubisoft saying, you know, we're in the San Francisco
we'll
area.
treat you to dinner, come down. Yeah.
It's like, I don't even want a job, mate, but I'll come for the beers and dinner.
Completely, yeah.
I don't want to make Assassin's Creed for the rest of my life. What you want to make?
Oh,
I'll have your beer.
It's
probably
it's
like $9 a
like,
pint in like San Francisco, or $15 a pint.
But that's it. Like, I must have seen, 10, 15 different development studios, including like Sony Santa Monica, Sony Bend. A lot of Sony ones. I don't know if it's just because of like what I follow on Twitter, but I follow a ton of different people on Twitter, so I don't think it's that. But a lot of kind of like outpour, and a lot of people, stepping forward and kind of saying, "Hey, look, here's we might not be holding an event as Ubisoft are doing, but just here are all of our job positions at the moment. Like we can't do more than this. These are the current positions we have, but here they are. If you guys fancy moving up to this city and you want to work with us, here are the positions we have." Like, it's brilliant the way that kind of like the industry has rallied round.
And you usually see that. Out. You see that all the time. Like,
you do,
I mean, and then, the one good thing to come of it is like all that talent is just dispersed throughout the industry, and it's like like who were the BioShock developers? Two
Irrational.
Yes, when they got shut down, it's like okay, all these people will go elsewhere, and it's like, oh, those games have actually come to fruition, come out and been decent and stuff like that. So from a selfish point of view, it's great to just see that talent scattered, different studios. A lot of them are indie studios, and seeing those things come to fruition. But for the short term, it's like it's really sucky. It's really bad.
Oh, completely. For people who need to pay their bills like in the next couple of days, it's fucking shocking.
In one of the most expensive places to live in the world, just from the San Francisco like office.
Completely. I had a big when this first kind of broke, I put my thoughts down. Like, I recorded my thoughts to put up on our Facebook page, but so many different kind of news breaking elements are coming out of this, that there is something else every day happening around this story. That I kind of, after the first day, it was like, loads of people have rallied round and there's all of these job postings, and I could have just added that onto the end of my video of like, shit, that Telltale had finished. I was really looking forward to The Walking Dead, and then suddenly all of these people are like, but we want refunds and blah, and so there's another element to the story, and then suddenly everyone's sort of saying like, suddenly Telltale themselves sort of said, well, or at least people working for Telltale perhaps said, Walking Dead's not coming, it's Minecraft that we're currently kind of like working towards, because that's who our shareholders and who we need to do our our contractual commitments to. So it wasn't The Walking Dead. So that then came out, and now suddenly there's a tweet or some kind of thing that came out, or statement that came out that said, we're trying to talk to partners about maybe being able to make this, and the backlash about like pay fucking people severance rather than actually trying to make it. Like, there's so many facets, and the story is moving so quickly that I'm like, delete I've said about this, because I have so many other thoughts about it. Like, it's such a fast moving, it's such a difficult thing to kind of discuss almost, because it is so fast moving, and it's kind of it's interesting to see that this is happening for Telltale, whereas maybe previously it hadn't happened. Like, like Evolution shut down, they made Drive Club, they banged out a load of like DLC for it. It was like, no, we're going to shut them now. It's like, oh, okay. Hopefully they get jobs elsewhere, and that was that was it.
Yeah.
This Telltale situation.
It was just so rapid. And
it was very quick, and it seems a little bit more toxic, perhaps, than other examples that have kind of like sprung up.
For sure, but I think it's like the writing was on the wall for a long time ago.
Yeah,
it's you know, just like. It wasn't even just like the stuff with their engine. It's like you're taking on a lot of properties.
Oh, no, it's the model. It's the business model, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just mismanagement. It's like you have to. I mean, everybody wants to get bigger as a company, expand. You know, but do that in a responsible and sustainable way, and they just never did that. And it showed in their products. To be honest, it's like you know, half of them were hits, half of them were misses, and it's like in the games industry. Survive, you got to have 100% hits, to be honest. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just going in the wrong direction. And it's, you know, it's a tough industry, and that's rubbish to say. It's like, you know, I got some enjoyment out of like the Game of Thrones season or something like that, but it's like, if you put out 4 more of those and all those development costs is going to that, and you're not having big hits like The Walking Dead was, then it's only if you're only going downhill. Let's be honest. I mean, my favorite was Tales from Borderlands.
Yeah.
But everyone's favorite, like most people's favorite, was The Walking Dead season 1. It's like none of those successive seasons had that major hit, and it's like it's hard to do on like, you know, to follow up on such a great thing first time round. That's very hard to do. And you could argue that The Wolf Among Us, another one that I like, that was another good hit, but it wasn't going down as in like sequel fatigue or anything like that. It was going down in a no one cares anymore kind of thing. Everyone stopped paying attention, and
this, you know, you've done this. What can you actually add to the genre? What can you change up? Rather than just a repeated game with a different skin, with a different narrative. Completely.
Yeah, and like the things with their engine that obviously like just perpetuated everything, because I stopped giving them, like, I used to be like day one season pass Telltale buyer, but it's like after like the Minecraft season came out, and which was enjoyable to some extent, but it was episode 4, the adventure's over, yay! Episode 5, we're starting a new adventure, yay! And then, buy the season pass for episodes 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Really? You didn't even... Sometimes you expect like things to end on a cliffhanger, like Batman season 2 and season 1. Like, I think the only one that nicely wrapped up was probably Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, very contained story.
Yeah. That's probably why it's the best. But... the others were like, you leave it on a cliffhanger, it was to be expected. But when you're literally stopping like the adventure like in the 4th episode and starting a new one on the 5th, that's some skeevy business there. So when it came to light that Minecraft was like the only lasting pillar of it, it's like that's no surprise, because it just felt like a cash grab after a certain point, and that was I think that's fair. That was probably the undoing of them, just taking on too many licenses, not really, probably not
management.
Yeah, probably not caring too much about the creativity and the interesting storytelling in some of these, rather than just getting it out.
Like, I imagine some people that worked there were very into the storytelling, and worked super hard on what they were doing, irrelevant of what the what the IP was. But
that showed in a lot.
It's massively like middle management or upper management who are kind of like, right, here's the deadlines. You've just got to fucking smash this out.
Crunch,
But I mean, I picked up the Walking Dead season pass, which gave me the collection, and even now, I mean, this news makes me want to go back and play season 1 more, I suppose, and season 2 and season 3, which is the one I missed. And then play play episode 1 and 2, and just see what happens, I suppose. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not looking for a refund. I have 5, and I got 400 days and Michonne to play as well.
Yeah, those are cool.
It's one of those who are like, you must give me a refund. Hang on, fuck off.
Yeah,
like, just chill out a little bit. Like,
yeah. I think
like day one, people are like, how fucking dare you do this? And well, yes. To be fair, for some of the upper management, how dare you do this? Because kind of the writing on the wall a little. You must have had some idea of what was going on for your employees, but not fucking how dare you Telltale Games as a fucking entire entity. There were people there that had absolutely no idea.
No, and these people are out of a job. I understand. I mean, gamers will be gamers, but I can understand some of the it's like we want Walking Dead finish. It's like I get that because like Clementine and that whole story arc, it means something to people. So I understand that it isn't so black and white, but for people like baying and for like blood and just everything like that, it's like, come on, man. It's like, look at the people behind this studio, and they're more gutted than you will ever be. That Clem's journey won't be completed. And not completed in like, we just didn't greenlight another season. In the fact that they literally had to leave their jobs that day.
Exactly. We've missed, what have we played? You've played season 1, 2, and 3. You experienced Clementine's story for 16, maybe 20 hours. These people have lived it for 5 or 6 years. Yeah, maybe longer.
Non-stop.
The first one came out like. So, just have a fucking thought for people, I suppose, isn't it? Like, just... well, let's finish there, Jesus.
We need to finish on a happy note. God for God's sake.
Beer festivals are fucking amazing, yay! Woo.
Yay!
Lucy, as you don't have beers, out of all of the things you've done in the last few weeks, what excited you the most?
Sleep!
Hooray!
Yay! Hooray for sleep!
Fuck, that's the best fucking thing I can do every day.
It's been a good couple of weeks. Games and beer, the best things ever. So yeah, but I can't wait to just watch Gillette Soccer Saturday on Saturday and just do nothing else. There's like 4 matches on. Like I think the Madrid derby's on. Got Liverpool playing Chelsea again. I think Man United are playing early kickoff.
West Ham at the weekend.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna drink. No, I'll probably end up drinking.
You will,
with the football, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But no video games. They're for babies.
Talking of drink, so I had the Deya invoice me for the microphone IPA, and the what's it called?
Bundobust International
and Northern Monk. Dhana International.
Yes,
isn't that? I keep saying Dhana International. Isn't that like a pop act? Isn't there like a singer called Dhana International? Anyway,
what era? If it's before the year 2000, I might know. If it's after, not gonna have a clue.
It must be after. I don't think it's that far away.
And I don't have a clue. Spice Girls are cool though.
Anyway, then, so the Dhana International, the invoice me for the microphone, both IPAs. Doing different things. I liked the fruitiness of the Bundobust of the Dhana International. I liked that slight, delicate, like pulled back kind of nature of the invoice me for the microphone. Two nice beers, 2 beers that I would definitely have again. It's very, very difficult for me to kind of say I would instantly drink this one again. They kind of both almost come off equally.
Yes.
I think
drink quicker. That's what it's
the one I drank quicker was the Bundobust.
Okay. Is that because you had a second beer in mind, or is it just like...
Exactly. Context is everything, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know.
Have a draw. You know what? I'll pick the Deya, and you pick the Dhana.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
So Lucy is picking the Deya, invoice me for the microphone, and I'm picking the Bundobust and Northern Monk Dhana International.
Yeah. That works. We have 1 winner each. Because I've only tasted one, so I guess that's the winner.
Brilliant week for me.
Yeah.
So yes, both beers, fantastic. Drink them both. So if you want to get us on social media to talk to us about events that you may be going to, beer festivals or gaming events that you're going to, whether you want to talk to us about Telltale or other studios and issues and whatever you want to talk to us about, talk to us at tankedup_cast or tankedupcast@gmail.com. I'm at Nova_47 on Twitter, on PSN, on Steam. Lucy, how do people talk to you?
I am Tanked Up Lucy on Twitter. I should tweet more about all the games that I've been playing. Some more shout outs. I might do that. So
Do it now.
I'm gonna, yeah. So follow me on there to see all the cool games I've been playing. And
All the shout outs.
yeah, all the shout outs. And all the beers that I've been drinking. You can add me on Untapped at JuicyLoose9.
Nice. Obviously, follow Addo at the Omniarch. He's hovering around.
Yeah,
he's in the UK.
He's in the walls somewhere.
But he's
screaming.
just hiding. Like, ah! He is around. He will be back.
He will.
Hopefully next week.
I hope so. That'll be good.
Oh, I miss Addo. Where
I
is
do
he?
too. Yeah.
What's he doing?
Come back.
No one derails this
Come back.
podcast anymore. It's all like straight to the nose. Let's actually talk about things
Yeah.
rather than a pun.
Yeah.
And
Where are
just
the puns?
instant carnage.
We didn't have one pun today.
Oh,
That's shocking.
well,
We've done a disservice to him.
we have. We'll have to think of one to end the podcast on. But if you want more podcasts, if you want more articles, opinions, reviews of games, go to outoflives.net. Go to the Out of Lives Facebook page as well, where you'll see. You won't see them because I don't put up like half attempts at videos, but you'll occasionally see videos from me on the Facebook page about things, prescient things going on currently in geek entertainment circles and stuff. I might put up a Telltale video at some point if anything ever finishes. I'll probably put up a video next about Sony caving because they're fucking pussies. But
Yeah, I didn't expect them to do that.
no, neither did I.
I was like, go strong, Sony. Because I don't care about Fortnite. And I don't play multiplayer games. But, it would have been nice not to cave in. I like it when businesses just say, we're capitalists and we don't
That's
care
it.
about you.
Maybe like Andrew House. Like he doesn't work for Sony anymore.
No.
Or he doesn't work for Sony at all. He doesn't work for PlayStation anymore. Maybe just phone them and was like, guys, just do it. This is my dying wish. Just get it done. Like, who knows
Make the
where this?
Fortnites
Who knows
possible.
where this came from?
Yeah.
Who instigated it? What feedback they took on? It's a fucking weird thing.
If
But
Nintendo let you bypass their online paid thing, and not only that, bypass their crappy voice chat and just plug a headset into the Switch and voice chat on Fortnite, Fortnite can bypass anything.
mate, that's it. What does crossplay actually mean? Does it just mean playing with people on another system on the same server? Or does it mean being able to talk to them?
I
Does it
know,
mean
it's
being
just
able
playing
to
on the same
fucking,
server.
Send them stupid Bowser anime? Does it mean being able to fucking, what does it mean?
It just means that Fortnite will never die now.
That's
And that's a
Fortnite
bad
first,
thing.
Rocket League next, and then we'll see the rollout. We'll see the rollout to other things. I assume.
You can just see the Rocket League devs like in the back saying, "But we thought of this first." And Epic Games are just like, and Epic Games are just like in the front, just like teacher's pet, like, not even paying attention to the spotty like glasses kid at the back.
Completely. And then it's just some cunt at the back who just fucking swears at you and is like, fucking do it, mate, come on.
Yeah, that's Pete Hines.
Oh, what's the new fucking... It's not Star Fox. What's the new Ubisoft game where you're a fucking Toys to Life ship? Starlink?
I think that's what it's called.
We'll see them coming out soon. It'll be crossplay fucking everywhere, and everyone will be a prick to everybody else, and it'll be console wars all over again. You think console wars are bad now? Wait till people actually get to play with each other on
It'd be
different
like,
consoles.
what console are you playing on? PlayStation. Nerd and
Just the word cuck just appears again everywhere.
yeah.
But for this week, at least, I've been slightly tanked up. Lucy's been at least healthy for a week.
Till next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Laters.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.